Seltzer Kings
podcasts.
Why do growing businesses love working in Slack? Let's ask Christy at RE Bikes.
Running things in Slack saves me so much time.
AI summaries save 97 minutes per week. What say you, Rox from Gosney?
Slack helps us build community, it helps us build connection.
Your partners, vendors and customers all in one place. Take us on home, Ashley from Caraway.
If we didn't have Slack tomorrow, I would explode.
Well, let's not let that happen. Visit slack.com/podcast to get 50% off Slack Business Plus.
Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? But with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers, a network of 130 million of them, in fact. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills, and did I say job title? See how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Real people making bold moves. Unforgettable journeys into life's next chapter. This is the Second Act Podcast.
Every day is a new chance. Mindset on a new path. Anything is possible. Any limit I surpass. Everything is in my grasp. I got tunnel vision with a pickaxe. Life is more fun when you live like there's no strings attached.
2 years of honest conversations about reinvention, risk, and what comes next, and we're grateful you're here. To mark the moment, we looked back at the parting advice from our guests. And one simple truth shows up again and again. Everything is temporary. Don't let fear of failure stop you from trying something new. Life is more fun when you treat it like an experiment. Test what works, what doesn't, and keep moving forward. So today, take this as permission to begin, adjust, and keep going.
I'm going to leave you with some advice of someone I talked to the other day going into the short-term rental business. Make the first phone call. Don't worry about all the ways you need to plan for all the problems that can occur with cleaning and maintenance and all those things. There's a million resources. Just make the first phone call, and it's going to go terribly. It's going to go terribly. I still have phone calls go terribly. But make the first phone call, because not until you learn to sell does your business start to grow.
Sometimes what you want isn't success, and you should stop worrying about success and just do what it is that you want. Sometimes what you want to do won't make you happy, but you should do it anyway. Sample more. If you don't know where you're going or you don't know what you're doing, you should do more sampling. People are very happy to take a sample of some random cheese in the supermarket, but when it comes to their life, they won't sample a single damn thing. This is crazy. Well, all accomplishments are achieved at the margin. Everything great that ever happens is an accumulation, okay? You have to do something useful every day. A torrent is made of bricks. Use your network. Your network is, I never understood this when I was young. I was crazy. Your network is your most important thing. But there's no hack, there's no trick, there's no system, okay? One of the things I show in the book is it's really hard to know who the most influential people in your network are. So just everyone you meet, you just tell them what you're doing, okay? If you decline to participate, the world will decline to pay attention. That is not your hard luck. That is not unfair. There is no injustice in this, okay? That's on you.
We kind of touched on it earlier, but I think a very common human experience is imposter syndrome. Probably for a lot of people who are considering a second act like that, I think that kind of implies this is different, right, than what you expected. You didn't think that you'd be here or that your trajectory could go in this way. And so you might feel some type of way I never identify as a business owner. There's no way I could be a business owner, not me. But, really, we all experience imposter syndrome at some level. Some it's more significant than others. Some it actually, debilitates people and they don't actually go and chase their dreams. But we all experience it. And so if that's you and you're considering it and you're nervous, you don't know if you can do it, I think there's a lot of parallels between having a business and being a parent. No one ever feels 100% in becoming a parent. those conditions are never going to be perfect, right? Like, you can try to plan as best you can, and it's similar for potentially your second act. Like, you're going to do your due diligence, you're going to weigh out these things before you make your next step, but then at some point, like, you just got to do it, right? Like, you just got to go. You just got to trust in yourself and make the leap. That's what it is. It's a leap.
So my advice would be, if there's something you want to do, you should really just do it. Go for it. Start taking the actions behind it. If you have dreams, that's awesome, but you need to really, take those dreams and turn them into goals, and then create actionable steps that you can, like, create a vision board. Let's say you wanted to do music. Well, write down 5 to 10 things that would be connected that you can start taking steps to do that, real actions that you can do. And it's just a matter of doing those every day. And over time, that's going to build, and you'll see progress in that. And I have a vision board, and I track everything that I do. And it's crazy, because if you go look at it after like 6 months or a year, and you see how many things that you've actually checked off, it's pretty crazy. So just start taking the steps. Believe in yourself. I think confidence is one of the most important things. You got to believe in yourself, because in the beginning, no one else will. So you really need to believe in yourself, like almost to a level that might even be a little delusional.
Yeah.
But over time, if you apply the practice and the work, it will become true.
Okay, I think the one piece of advice I'd love to share, and something that, at times even I struggle with, and I try to always kind of remind myself, is especially when, and it's not just something that is for builders and entrepreneurs, but people who have like any sort of passion, whether it's art, music, crafts, anything at all. One thing that I've seen always benefit or help me is, putting whatever I'm working on out there to the world, and sharing it with the world, and showing them what I've been, doing. In the world of entrepreneurship, it's called shipping. You're shipping a new feature, you're shipping a product. But for me, growing up, one of the biggest obstacles I used to always have was trying to create the perfect thing, trying to create the perfect feature, trying to create the perfect app. And I remember a mentor once kind of sat me down and explained to me that, perfection is a myth. You're never really going to achieve it, but it doesn't hurt to kind of keep sharing whatever you're doing with the world regardless. And once I started to do that, I learned that, A, it made me more accountable and whatever I was doing, and B, it made me motivated to hear people's response and to, see their excitement and enthusiasm for that. So one thing I definitely, and it's something that we've been trying to establish at Georgia Tech, as well as like a culture of shipping, whether you're making music, whether you are a videographer, whether you want to create content, the first step to achieving that, passion or fulfilling it is to share with the world. It doesn't matter if they love it, it doesn't matter if they hate it, but it's the first step in getting there, and just getting the first step is an accomplishment in of itself. So
my first piece of advice would be that relationships matter. You need to be able to bring people along. You need to be able to surround yourself with your ride or dies, making sure that, you build that community if it doesn't exist for you. The other thing I'd say more broadly is, if you're contemplating a second act, or in my case, like a third or a fourth, maybe, then really embrace that intersection of curiosity and courage. It's really not just about doing something new. It's about staying curious enough to learn. Even if you are a beginner in the space, right? Even if you're not familiar, just stay curious and bet on yourself. I mean, I've pivoted so many times, even just in this startup world. And so, let alone going from the military to tech to Data Love Co. and then back into academia. Like I've pivoted a lot, but even just with the Data Love Co., I have pivoted multiple times to get where I am, and I probably will pivot again. And so I would just say, stay curious, stay courageous. Don't be afraid to pivot, rewrite the script, fail fast, pick yourself up, and give yourself grace in those hard moments.
When you're burnt out and all your check engine lights are going on, trust that. And sit down long enough and also understand the difference between, sometimes you just have hard seasons in life and you got to get through it and you got to get to the next part, and understand the difference between a season and a next chapter. And a lot of times they're pretty hard to decipher. And so surrounding yourself with a couple, not a whole lot of people, but a couple good people who really know you and even know you enough to see when your eyes are sparkling and when they're sad or not where they should be, and trust those people, trust your check engine light, and trust the people who know you really well. And if people don't know you well enough, I'd start there too. You have to have people who know you well enough to help you with big decisions, and then trust it, because in the business world, your hard times are somebody else's blessing. And I think that is just so important to remember, that when you pass the torch, there's somebody else who would love to do what you're not wanting to do right now. And that's how the world keeps turning, and the opportunities and the growth, and it's meant to be that way. It's meant to be that way, and sometimes we wait too long to. You're never gonna know if you did it too soon, but you will know when you waited too long. And so just trust yourself.
Well, I think it's a couple things, right? My mother used to say, you are what you eat, right? Well, we are what we think, and that's one of the biggest things I think that I've learned, right? When I was in a dark place, if you're thinking dark, you're gonna kind of stay there. And if you surrender and trust, right, that there are people out there that love and care and will provide a safety net for you to rebuild from, you can do that. I also realized that, fear is a real part of trauma, and everybody goes through trauma. You don't enter the disabled community without trauma or being born into it. And give yourself the grace to go through it however you go through it, and you will persevere. And lastly is to try not to be a victim. I have a hard time with them. They call it limb loss in the amputee world. I'm like, get rid of the loss word, please. And I realized that, if you came in on a gurney from a car accident or a serviceman, in an IED, right? You wake up without a limb. That's not a loss, because that limb is gone, so that your life is still here, and there is life after. And so, just try to reframe it, but give yourself the grace and to go through it as you see fit, right? Try to look through the windshield, not through the rearview mirror, and it gets a little bit easier.
I would say there's kind of two pieces that I would consider. One is really coming from this mental health lens right out of the gate. What's stopping you, right? What's the fear? And if you can ask yourself, if you can name it, usually the fear is rooted in something pretty kind of tangible or that can come to consciousness. So the fear is a financial stress, right? I can't pivot because I'm worried about the financial piece. Okay, plan for it, right? Then it no longer has to be a fear. Or I'm worried about the judgment, okay? Start asking some of the experts who are doing the things that you want to do. And then you don't have to worry about the judgment because you're armed with information and knowledge. So I would ask yourself, what is the fear? What's stopping you from jumping, right? And leaping into this. And then see if you can address it. Is it that your partner or your spouse is going to be upset? Is it that your parents are going to be upset? Is it whatever it is, right? And if you can address it, that will give you a lot more courage to move forward. The other thing that I would say is that I've done in my own kind of practice and my own work is that I try to listen and learn from the people that are smarter than me, right? There are a lot of people that are smarter than me. And I am a lifelong learner. I really enjoy learning. I enjoy reading, right? And so when I can ask questions from people who do it better or smarter than I do, I absolutely jump at that. I don't have fear about that. I have no problem saying I'm not the smartest person in the room because that's how we all learn. And so if you are wondering how to do this or how to gather that information, I would say start looking, right? Google. Start, who does this? Does anybody do this? How do I do it, right? And ping them. And those people that reach out to me, that ask me questions, I try to really make time for them too, because I think they're smart to ask. So I would say if you can listen and learn from people smarter than you or people who are doing what you want to do, go out there and ask. There's no harm in asking.
Yeah, I think getting outside of specifically what we do and more into the mindset and heart set of going into your second act, I think especially if you have, woken up in the middle of your life and all of a sudden realized man, I've burned some time that I wish I hadn't burned, or I don't want to, continue on this path. Just do a quick audit on, where you're spending your time and what things are valuable to you versus where you're dreaming about what you're writing down and kind of where your mind goes, and see what beliefs maybe underlie those behaviors. And if it's a belief that certainty are what matters, or a W-2, or this is the thing I was supposed to do, or whatever, like I would go and also sit down and see like what your belief in yourself looks like. And listening to stories like this, I think you're pretty well at the tipping point where you're starting to get this this fire. You're uncomfortable and ready to make a change. I would say like absolutely believe in yourself, and then go and listen to great stories and go and find other people who have done the same and become encouraged by that.
I would say probably 2 pieces of advice. You're not going to be surprised by the first one. If you are financially secure and understand your finances, it's going to be a lot easier for you to do that, because I think one of the biggest things I see when people want to do a second act is they don't have their finances in order to be able to do it, or they go do it and they're all excited about it, and then they realize they're missing their paycheck, or they wish they would have made, making more money, or they're spending more of their savings, and it starts to panic them and they feel like they have to abandon what they're doing. So if you have your finances in order and you understand what your runway is to build a business, I think it not only makes you feel less stressed about what you're doing, but it also lights a fire, because you're like, okay, at this amount of time and I'm good, so I'm gonna build a business. I'm gonna have goals to get to this point by this point. Like, I think that actually helps you be a better entrepreneur along the way. So that's the first advice I would give. And then secondly, I think if you're at this point, there's usually a pivotal moment where you have to shed other people's expectations. At least I had to, because even my mentors had this vision of me going on and doing a lot of other things in the corporate world. And who knows where life is going to go, right? You never know where life's going to take you. But like I mentioned before, sometimes I was even a little nervous to tell people I was changing paths, because I felt like they'd invested in me and this version of me.
Yeah.
And I think that really leads to a lot of unhappiness. I don't think the point of life is to be happy, but I think it's really hard if you're living for someone else's expectations.
Sure.
So if you're gonna jump into a second act, I think you need to get really comfortable with who you are and living through your own authenticity. I always say, like, for me, I answer the man upstairs myself when I go to bed at night. And
nice.
I think it took a really long time in my career. I'm very much a people pleaser, and I know that about myself. It was really hard for me to not do what I thought other people wanted me to do. And once you get comfortable with that, I think you can really shine with like what your actual talents are and where you want to go, because it's something you're so invested in yourself.
I'm gonna give you a convoluted answer that may not be very satisfying. I would say that the person that you marry is such a huge part of this. And I believe that you can go back. So this may be, and again, this is not too late for others, but it's, gosh, you got to have a partner who's ready, who's going to be in it with you. I don't know how anybody would do that. I'm so fortunate that I have Kristen, who is on the ride. I mean, she's walking a tightrope with me, right? So having that partner, so maybe I'll make it even more practical. Let me make this a little more practical. And so I don't want to cause a bunch of divorces with this answer. So what I would say is, make sure you're aligned with your partner first. Seek alignment and take some time to seek that alignment. So I believe that would be, I think everything else is going to feel like, man, this is toil to begin with. A startup is toil to begin with. And it's going to be multiples of toil if you're not aligned with your partner. So that would be the advice I would give, is align with your spouse, align with your partner, be on the same page as them, and then you'll be able to weather that storm together.
Wow, party advice. So I know whenever we go in the ring, the corner, you don't want to like inundate people with a lot of information. So I think my top 3 things would be, don't be a victim, right? Try to get to the yes. Come up with your own brand, like really know who you are. And for me, it's very important to do self-talk. So I created 2 mantras that help me find myself back when things start to get a little crazy. And for me, that's get, hit, move forward, and right here, right now. So you're welcome to steal mine or create your own. But when things get a little crazy and hectic, just talking to yourself in first person, that'll help calm things down, remind you of who you are and how you're going to get to that yes.
There's a few things that I learned in my transition to my second act in life. And probably one of the biggest was you have to be the consummate student. You have to be learning something every single day. I believe that leaders learn and learners lead. When you learn every day, you're not just doing something for yourself, because you have to be a sponge and soak everything up. But and one of my great mentors told me when I was making my movement to the second act, I said, "What big piece of advice do you have?" And he said, "Be a sponge." I'm like, "Oh, great. I can go learn all day long." I learned how to learn in the military, and I learned how to learn in law enforcement because it's all about continuous education. He goes, "It's only half of it." I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Well, if you look at a sponge, it soaks things up, but then you squeeze it, it gives things back." Your goal is to take and soak those things up and then give those things back to everybody that you are in contact with. But you have to give them back as value. So you have to be able to transition that information into something that they can absorb themselves in order to make their life better. And then the more people you help make their life better, make their business better, solve a problem, overcome a challenge, things like that, those people will remember that social currency that you paid them, and they will pay you back. It's called the law of reciprocity. The more you give to them, and you're learning every day, you're soaking up and giving back every day. The more you give to them, whether or not you know it, the more they want to give back to you, probably by doing business with you or by, bringing you into their organization to help others grow like you're growing. But ultimately, it's about being a sponge.
I found this quote by Jane Austen that I felt like when you talk about what is my purpose, what is my legacy, and it says, "I don't know what it means to love people halfway. It's not in my nature. My affections are always excessive." And I think that when we choose self-love, when we give ourselves permission to evolve, when we give ourselves permission to not know all the rules of the rodeo on our only second rodeo, I think what happens is that we remove the self-blame, we remove the self-doubt, we remove this feeling of perfectionism that I think, especially in Western cultures, we're told that we have to have figured it all out by some certain age. And what that does is it closes us down to the feeling of evolution, the belief system that we don't want to say the same way every year of our entire life because we're not evolving to what the world needs us to be.
Start with compassionate curiosity. Start with compassionate curiosity. Why? Why this? What gives me life? Why is this unsettling? Why do I feel unhappy? Why does this give me energy? Why am I depressed? What am I hearing? What do I want to do? Why do I want to do it? Am I sure? Compassionately ask yourself those questions. It is a beautiful way to engage.
So, to recap, one of the through lines, the first one would be to allow yourself to see signs in the universe. And you can only see signs if you actually put it out there. So put out there the things that you want to change. If you're having a conversation with someone, you never know who they know. Literally, I rocked up at the zoo in Denver. I sat next to a woman, 150 people, that she wins United Airlines flights. Like she wins tickets to Australia, right? And I'm sitting next to her. So I'm like, oh, I could tell you a place or two to go. And then she's like, what do you do? I just published my book. I give her a copy of my book. And she goes, oh, will you come into my company and do it with my company? And now I run the National Tooling and Machining Association Emerging Leaders Program because I sat next to that woman. That's a true story.
That's awesome.
So you don't know, you never know who you're going to sit next to. So you have to be able to be slightly vulnerable to share what it is that you want.
I like to take a quote. One of my favorite other podcasters is Andy Frisella, and he says, everyone you admire was once a fraud. And I've always resonated with that because imposter syndrome is huge for anybody young who's listening.
Or old. It happens to us as well.
Yeah. Well, aside from that, for anybody young who's listening, it's really hard to start a business when you're at a young age.
Yep.
I think that a lot of people, when they start service-based businesses, are expected to have like 10 to 20 years of experience relevant to their client. And we don't get that. I didn't get to have that. I didn't have a bunch of case studies. It was like, somebody please trust me. My first client, the pricing was so interesting, was, okay, what's your budget? First off, never ask their budget. Second off, They told me, what do you think it's worth to work with you? And I underscoped. And they knew that. So they put less value into me. You are not less valuable because you're younger than other people. And the biggest challenge I've ever faced was not feeling understood by other people. And I don't think that's an age thing. I think no matter where you are as an entrepreneur, the opinions of your peers and the way that you tell them your problems, and they can come back with either, oh, like, that sounds really hard, wow, I'm sorry, versus like somebody who understands you and can say, oh, this is what I would do in that situation from my experience. Finding an equal balance of both is honestly the most powerful thing you can ever do. You need to find a support system as a number one priority, no matter where you're at in the journey.
Yeah, I think the advice I always give is, what is it that you want at the end? What is your desire? What's your total azimuth of what is it at the end when they're gonna lay you down, man? What do you want to accomplish?
Yep.
And can you back yourself up to that? And going again to what my coach said, that everything is training. You know, you can't just have a military career and then, you know, your civilian career is gone. You're still in the community. You just operate with a different uniform. I love what John was saying there. What we have to do is, in giving ourselves, you know, space and grace to grow, is we need to also allow for ourselves the opportunity to see different aspects of our life, even as we're going through the life that we are currently in this case, in military service.
Take advantage of your resources and every opportunity that you can. There are so many free resources out there, from Hire Heroes USA to YouTube, or to a cheap subscription to Coursera. Do something to put yourself on the path that you want to take. And it doesn't have to be a huge step, it's just a step. But take advantage of everything, learn from everything and everyone you meet. There is a lesson to be taught in every encounter you have with someone, or in every position you've ever worked. And, you know, if you need to write it down, or just reflect on it, and maybe just spend a few minutes every day reflecting on, what did I learn today and how could I do that better next time? You know, is this encounter not very good? Okay, what can we do to improve it?
Yep.
And just take it one day at a time. Just keep putting one foot in front of the other. And, you know, if you persevere and you capitalize on opportunities, you know, you'll take yourself further down the path than you thought was possible.
Get started. I mean, don't put it off, just get started. Take a step and reach out. And not only think about your family and your friends, but think about what got you there. One of the areas that I'm starting to reach out and explore is how I become an advocate for the Indiana Donors Network. You know, I learned a couple of years later, that's where I got my heart. You know, think about what your talents are and who you can help the most. And then just get started. Don't put it off. Don't overanalyze it. Get started. You'll find your way. You'll find, and people will. The other thing is, don't go in with a preconceived notion on how you're going to help them, right? Just walk up and say, how can I help? And what do you need me to do? And it may mean you sweep the floor. It may mean that you go on podcasts and talk, but whatever that is, just take that first step.
I think for me, it's two things. I think one is, I don't think you're ever going to be fully ready for your second act. Nobody wakes up and is like, okay, I feel good about it. Let's do it. Right. Yep. Change is hard and change is scary, and there's never a right time. There's never a good time, and you're never going to feel 100% ready for it. And I think it takes the courage to just take the leap that I think sets people apart from those that do it and those that don't. I think this is true for men and women, but probably specifically maybe more for women, is studies show that significantly more women struggle with imposter syndrome than men. And I've noticed personally that imposter syndrome shows up
a lot more in transition, right? So
Yep.
transitioning to a new role, a new organization, even if it's not a complete second act, that internal critic is going to be so loud, so loud. And so my encouragement is know that, understand that, allow that to sit, right? Allow that to sit and talk to others about it. It could be men, it could be women, but so many of us deal with that. And sometimes the best way to get the inner critic to be a little quieter is to speak it out loud. And I think that more people struggle with that than we're either willing to admit or willing to talk about it. And if you find someone that you trust, that you can have those conversations with, that's going to make that transition at least a little bit easier. And I think that's really important to identify.
Well, the holidays have come and gone once again, but if you've forgotten to get that special someone in your life a gift, well, Mint Mobile is extending their holiday offer of half off unlimited wireless. So here's the idea. You get it now, you call it an early present for next year. What do you have to lose? Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Limited time 50% off regular price for new customers. Upfront payment required. $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan. Taxes and fees extra. Speeds may slow after 50 gigabytes per month when network is busy. See terms.
Seltzer Kings.
Podcasts.